Well, Gino Vanelli is a very well-respected composer and singer. He was really popular in the United States back in the 70s and 80s, and I think because of political reasons, some reason he was kind of disappeared from the United States scene, and he kept making good music in Canada and Europe, and maybe even Japan he had some music out, but his music was really challenging. It was like probably the hardest guitar gig I've ever done, because he's very, he's like a classical or a jazz musician, harmonically speaking, yet he wants rock sensibilities. So I could stretch out and play, but it was, you know, really difficult chord changes for me to play to. It was really hard, but it was very rewarding for that reason. I think we're going to go back and do some more dates in Europe later on this year. But we did 6 weeks in Canada, and we played mostly in Montreal and Toronto, but we also toured around smaller cities in Canada. And Canada's wonderful, and the gig was great. The band, they're all incredibly great. And if you get a chance, if you want to see some of it, there's a website called Orange Lounge, I believe is what it's called. And it was a live shoot of us playing in a small studio in Toronto, Canada. Well, I'm trying to think. All of them were interesting. Montreal and Toronto were very beautiful. The Canadians are wonderful people, and it was great to be in a full 1,000-hall, theater full of people who knew all the lyrics to all of his songs. So it was like a pop gig and a jazz gig at the same time. So it was fun. I've played with many famous singers before, but his was really more featured guitar and more solos, and so it was doubly challenging for me. We did one time, we played in a place called Chicoutimi in way north Canada, and we had to drive about 7 or 8 hours through the snow, and that was very scary for me because I'm raised in Alabama and live in Los Angeles. So we were driving, and literally what was a 4-lane road had turned into just 2 little paths for the road, and we're driving like this in a van, and so that was a little scary. We weren't sure whether we would get back or not. I wasn't sure whether we would get there alive or not. But it was all okay. The Canadians know how to handle that weather. But no, the gigs were great, and hopefully we'll do more. And they're even talking about maybe a Japanese tour next year sometime. For that tour, I used the maple neck Xotic guitar. Because we flew a lot of places, I could really only take one guitar. And the most versatile guitar that I had was the maple neck guitar. Maybe for the next one, I may take this one out because it has a little bit more of a jazz side to it. But they're both great. This one's a little snappier, and because of the maple neck, this one's a little softer sound. So it's just a small difference. But this one might be better for some of his jazzier tunes because of that humbucker pickup. I can get more of a almost like a 335 jazzier tone.